From the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains in beautiful Colorado, it is Thursday, October 15th, 2020, and this is Truly News. I am your host, Jason Van Sickle. I hope that you had a great day yesterday. We are officially past the halfway point of the week. Hopefully your week is going well. As we begin this new day, let's start with getting smarter and better informed by reviewing today's news. As always, we start with a look at the top headlines from across the country. And from the Wall Street Journal, Amy Coney Barrett closes out testimony on track for Senate approval. Members of the Senate Judiciary Committee questioned Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett for a second day yesterday, with Republicans lining up behind her and Democrats suggesting she is a threat to widely accepted rights. Today is expected to be the last day of hearings. After the committee completes the hearings, Republican Lindsey Graham, who is leading the hearings, is expected to call for a committee vote. Under committee rules, Democrats can move to hold over the nomination for 1 week, and it is expected that they will make that move. If so, then the committee is expected to vote on October 22nd, with approval of Barrett likely occurring along party lines. From National Public Radio, Paris is under a curfew and Europe reacts as countries see highest ever coronavirus numbers. Coronavirus restrictions are taking effect in the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, the Czech Republic, and other parts of Europe on Wednesday as nations try to reverse an alarming wave of new cases. The continent is now seeing more new coronavirus cases, an average of 100,000 a day, than at any other time during the pandemic. Bars, restaurants, and schools are being shut down and sharply limited, and officials are working to bolster hospital capacity to accommodate an expected influx of new COVID-19 patients. And from the Washington Post, across the country, Democrats' enthusiasm is propelling an enormous wave of early voting. Roughly 15 million Americans have already voted, setting a trajectory that could result in a majority of voters casting ballots before Election Day for the first time in U.S. history. And finally, in our look at the top headlines, here are the stories that are crossing the wire at Reuters News. Californians fear more wildfires as winds pick up. Also, judge says absentee ballots in North Carolina must have witness signatures. And our final headline from Reuters, U.S. judge strikes down Tennessee abortion law requiring a 48-hour waiting period. And those are your top headlines for today. To put us in a better mood after those headlines, we now present our top 5 joke countdown. As usual, bringing us the countdown is my friend Billy Cunningham. Billy is a comedian who goes by the stage name Potbelly. And here's Billy.
Thank you, Jason. From my studio here in Sweetwater, Appalachia, this is Billy Potbelly Cunningham. By the way, for those of you who live in Smyrna, South Carolina, on Saturday, I will be hosting open mic night at the Slow Rising Buns, Smyrna's cook-your-own-biscuits bakery. Hope to see you there. Now, on to our jokes. My intern Penny is handing me the joke cards for today. She gets these jokes from Reader's Digest, and as an up-and-coming comedian, she often rewrites a few to make 'em even funnier. So let's see how she done. And, looking here at the cards, it looks like our category today is funny stories. Oh, baby. Here we go. Number 5. One of my wife's 4th graders was wearing a Fitbit watch. That prompted my wife to ask, "Are you tracking your steps?" No, the little girl said. I wear this for my mommy so she can show Daddy when he gets home. That's a great idea. I'm going to give my watch to my son. Problem solved. Oh, man. Number 4. Last week, my wife was really excited about an outfit she bought at the flea market. It fit perfectly, and she loved the denim skirt which had little swirls of pleats. In fact, she wore it later that night at a pig roast and wine tasting party that we attended. At the party, Miss Patty Jane Sweetwater of the famous Sweetwater family came up to my wife and said, "Oh, darling, what a beautiful skirt. People will appreciate that when pleats come back." That's funny. Well, wait a minute. All my pants have pleats. Are pleats not in? Is that true, Penny? Oh, man, great. Now I got to go to the Montgomery Wards and get all new jeans. Jeez. Number 3. As my kids were climbing in the back of the car, Billy Joe yelled, "I got left side." That made our daughter, Billie Jean, very upset. Both kids started yelling and shoving. "Hey, hey, hey, don't do that," I said. "Do the rocks, paper, scissors for it." "Okay, Dad," they said. After best out of 3, my daughter emerged triumphant. I win, she exclaimed. Then she paused and said, "Daddy, which side is left?" Yeah, that's good. By the way, Penny, I actually saw this original joke on Reader's Digest. You did a good job kicking it up a notch. Yeah, I'm going to double your pay next week. What? Oh, I know you're an unpaid intern. That's why I'm doubling your pay. Oh, number 2. Teaching is definitely not for sensitive souls. The other day, my wife, who is a 4th grade English teacher, was teaching the kids about past and present tenses. The kids were struggling a bit, so she gave them some examples using youth and growing old. At the end, she said, "So, if I make the statement that I am beautiful, then what tense is that?" The smartest girl in the class raised her hand quickly. "Yes, Ruby Sue," my wife said, pointing at her. "Well, ma'am, that statement is obviously past tense." Yeah. Oh, wait. I better stop laughing. My wife may be listening. Yeah. And our number 1 funny story today. I was at the gas station yesterday when a kid walked in and said to the cashier, "Hey, dude, what's up? It's my 18th birthday, yay!" He then asked for one of them e-cigarettes. Scanning the ID, the clerk said, "By the way, your license expired yesterday." Looking very disappointed, the young feller said, "Dang, does that mean I can't turn 18 today?" Dumb kid, do yourself a favor. See if high school will extend your stay a few more years, man. Well, those are your jokes for today. I'm glad that we had a little time together this morning, and I look forward to our time together tomorrow. In the meantime, be kind to others, be good to yourself, and keep on smiling. This is Billy Potbelly Cunningham signing off. Over and out.
There you have it, folks. Billy and his top 5 countdown. Thanks, Billy. And now we return to the news. From the world of science and technology, the BBC reports that Europe is stepping up its contributions to the Artemis moon plan. The plan, created by NASA, calls for a return to the moon in 2024. It also includes the creation of a new space station that will orbit the moon. It has been announced that a space agency in Italy will build 2 pressurized sections, one where astronauts can live and the other on which fueling and telecommunications equipment can be mounted. The space station, which will be called Gateway, is intended as a staging post for astronauts as they shuttle back and forth to the moon's surface. The station will be large, and at 90 tons, it is a key part of the American Space Agency's Artemis Moon project. The project calls for human landing on the moon to take place in 2024, although it will be later in the decade before all of the sections of the Gateway space station are in place. Also in science and technology news, from the BBC, a Soyuz rocket reaches the International Space Station in record time. Yesterday morning, a Russian Soyuz rocket took off from Kazakhstan carrying 2 Russian cosmonauts and a NASA astronaut. The new and improved version of the Soyuz set a record when it reached the space station in just 3 hours and 3 minutes. That is twice as fast as the journey usually takes. And our final article from Science and Technology News, CNET reports iPhone 12 has 5G, but Apple still has us questioning why we need it. Like it does every year, Apple's new product launch this week gave users plenty of reasons to want its newest phone, the iPhone 12. The camera is better, and so is the processor. The display, with a ceramic shield technology, is more durable, and there's even a new color for the iPhone 12 Pro, Pacific Blue. There are also now 4 models to choose from instead of 3, and the overall phone has been redesigned for the first time since 2017. And all phones now come with 5G capacity. But Apple, like essentially everyone else in the wireless industry, still didn't actually give us a reason to need 5G. There is definitely a boost in speed, but the increase that is being seen at this point isn't significant enough to really matter. Ultimately, 5G is expected to be a game changer, but for many consumers right now, it just isn't worth the extra cost. And those are your science and technology headlines for today. In health news, WebMD announces that spices have been recalled over salmonella fears. If you've recently purchased Spice Hunter brand seasonings, you may want to check your pantry. The company that makes those spices has recalled almost 29 products, including organic parsley, organic cinnamon, cloves, and pumpkin pie spice. The recall is over fears that they could be contaminated with salmonella. The products were distributed in 31 states. Only the organic parsley tested positive for the presence of bacteria, but the company decided to recall other products processed on the same equipment over concerns about cross-contamination. So far, there are no reports of illness associated with these products. Also in health news, Harvard Health reports that more daily movement may lower cancer deaths. According to new research, greater amounts of physical activity during the day are associated with a lower risk of dying from cancer. A new study involving 8,000 people with an average age of 70 who did not have a cancer diagnosis showed that individuals who were inactive, meaning sitting around with no physical activity for 11 or more hours a day, had an 85% higher risk of death due to cancer than active individuals. And that is your health news for today. Now we take another break from the headlines for today's Words of Wisdom. To present this segment is Dr. Albert Feinstein, my philosophy professor from college. And here is Dr. Feinstein.
Thank you, Mr. Van Sickle. Hello, and welcome to today's Words of Wisdom. Today, I'd like to talk about priorities. At some point, you will reach the end of your life. Then, what will you wish you had done? In my life, I have thought many times about my own mortality. After reflecting on the fact that time goes by so fast, I then ask myself, what do you want from life? What should my focus be today, tomorrow, and with the time I have left? Life is short. We should all grab hold of it. You should grab hold of it and live a life that you can cherish and not regret. And those are your words of wisdom for today. Until next time, keep seeking wisdom and believe in your incredible potential. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Feinstein. We appreciate your words of wisdom and your encouragement. Now, we return to our review of the day's news. In entertainment news, we start with new movies, and today's movie is Charm City Kings, starring Jahai Diallo Winston, Meek Mill, and William Cattell. This movie falls under the category of drama, and here is the description from IMDb. Mouse desperately wants to join the Mighty Clique, the infamous Baltimore dirt bike riders who rule the summertime streets. When Midnight's leader, Blacks, takes 14-year-old Mouse under his wing, Mouse soon finds himself torn between the straight and narrow and a road filled with fast money and violence. Charm City Kings is now showing on HBO Max. Moving on, we look at newly released shows, and today's show is The Boys, starring Carl Urban, Jack Quaid, and Anthony Starr. This series falls under the categories of action, comedy, and crime. And here's the description from IMDb. The Boys is set in a universe in which superpowered people are recognized as heroes by the general public and owned by a powerful corporation which ensures that they are aggressively marketed and monetized. Outside of their heroic personas, most are arrogant and corrupt. A vigilante group led by the egotistical and unstable character Homelander, played by Anthony Starr, looks to keep the corrupted superheroes under control. Season 2 of The Boys is now streaming on Amazon Prime Video. Finally, in our entertainment news, we take a look at newly published books. And our book for today is Trumpty Dumpty Wanted a Clown, Verses for a Despotic Age by John Lithgow. This book is presently number 5 on the New York Times nonfiction bestseller list. Here is a summary of the book from Amazon.com. Following the success of his New York Times bestseller Dumpty, award-winning actor, author, and illustrator John Lithgow presents a brand new collection of satirical poems chronicling the despotic age of Donald Trump. Trumpty Dumpty Wanted a Crown is now available in print at your local bookstore, and it is also available in print, Kindle, and audiobook formats on Amazon. And that concludes our entertainment news for the day. As always, we end our broadcast with a look at what we call Happy News. And here is your Happy News story. From Pasco County, Florida. No, she is not a crazy cat lady. Danny Garreau is a true animal lover. She has been one all of her life, and she has spent many hours working at animal shelters and volunteering time and money to provide food and care to strays rescued from the streets. However, when Danny recently moved into her new home in Pasco County, she found a big problem. The area was overrun by stray cats. Deciding that something needed to be done, she began an effort to help the cats and stop the growth of the stray population. After doing some research, Danny learned about the humane and effective approach of TNVR, which stands for Trap, Neuter, Vaccinate, and Release. However, Danny had no idea how to trap a cat. So, turning again to Google search, she learned about various techniques. Finding one that worked, she began to catch cats, have them vaccinated and neutered, and then let them go. She would have tried to adopt them out, but it is very hard to domesticate a feral cat. On the other hand, she was able to track down litters of kittens and created a successful adoption program for them. The area's wild cat population is no longer growing, and many kittens have found new homes with loving families. And that is your news for October 15th, 2020. Have a wonderful day.